Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, and welcome back to some more Endless Scrap Mechanic. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the completed road building machine that not only builds roads, but it can now also build bridges as well, all while doing it automatically. Now, if you want to see a lot of the build process for this creation, I'm going to leave a link up in the top corner for that video. You can see the different processes that I went through from the concepting all the way up until something that was close to this. But in this video, we are going to be taking a look at that finished product, all of the things that I did to solve the problems and to make it better and better. Now, if you guys enjoy this build, then let me know by hitting that like button, and if you have any suggestions for future creations, then let me know down in the comments. Now, let's check out this machine. So there is a lot to check out on this build, and I'm going to try and do it as efficiently as possible. So we're going to pretend like we just got this off of the workshop, and we're going to go through the steps and the motions of this build to better understand what is going on. So, of course, there is going to be a link down in the description as well if you do want to check this out on the Steam Workshop and bring it into your own world. Now, it's going to start off like this right here. You're going to see we have a starting portion of the road right behind the build there with some caution blocks. Now, what you got to do is remove those caution blocks on either side, just like so, and that's to show that this is going to be going in between these low collision or low friction blocks right here. So of course, the next thing you are going to want to do is weld this down to the ground. So we're just going to do that now. We're going to put a block there, weld it sideways, just like so. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the machine, make sure it's facing in the correct direction, and then we're going to place it on the lift and bring it right in front of this road section right here. Now, it's kind of tricky. You do have to try and line it up as best you can with the rails there on the wheels. Now, you don't have to necessarily get it 100% perfect, because if you do lower it down and it's off-centered just a little bit, you can simply just put it right through and clip those blocks together, and what's going to happen is it's just going to correct itself like so and move into position. So that's the first thing we're going to check out, is the drive system. Now this, like I said, is completely automated. You can turn it on and just kind of set it and forget it once it starts running. Now what I have is, this is all run by an electric engine over on the other side there, but I have a sensor right here that detects when a full sequence has been completed. Now we'll be checking out the sequencing of the vacuum pumps in a moment. So what happens though is that once that sequence completes, the sensor detects that final block in the sequence and it turns on that electric motor for a moment. And you can see I have like a little setup here that we'll see once it's running, that turns the motor on for a moment and then turns it off again, and it moves it pretty much about a block space every time. Now, as for the sequencing and the build of this road here, it's pretty much broken down into 5 different sections. So on the left here, it starts off with the first curb sequence. Now that is all handled by one single vacuum pump that we will see moving in a moment. That builds a curb on that side, and then there's a mirror image of that on this side here, building the other side of the curb. And then we have 2 center road portions here. You can see we have 3 vacuum pumps over there that builds the bulk of the brick road on either side. And then we also have the center section right here. Now this is 3 vacuum pumps all pointing downward into the center, and what that does is it builds this center portion right here. Now, one of the biggest challenges of this build was the fact that I wanted to have different materials as well as a little bit of height with a curb here, which added just an extra dimension to this. And now we can take a look up here on the top. I wanted to make this look a little bit like a machine, you know, or some type of contraption that has functionality to it. So I decided to build a little platform that you can walk around on. We have some guardrails here to keep you safe, and there is also a viewing area right here. So when you're in the driver's seat, you can actually look down like this to get like a little bit of an inspection view on the road, just to make sure everything is running properly. Now, another benefit of this platform as well is the ability to see all of the chests as well as have access to them. So you can see here, no matter where we are, we can see all of the chests and all of the different components. And it's really cool because you can replace these blocks with whatever you want, and it will print out that different combination of those blocks as well. So you can have custom roads. So we're going to run this sequence right now on the ground. ground here, and then after that we're gonna move on over and talk about the bridge building portion and set up a little thing there so we can cross a little bit of a gap over there that I have created. So let's turn this on. There we go. And now the road building machine is operational, and like I said, totally automatic, so we can just kind of set it and forget it, and this is going to keep on running through the sequence. Now, one of the major problems I had in the initial concepting of this build was the fact that this curb here is 4 different blocks, but I was running the bulk brick in a different sequence. It was running in a movement of 3 instead of movement of 4. So what I ended up doing was I reduced the amount of vacuum pumps on either side from 4 to 3, which then allowed for me to change the movement to a 4 count as well, which means that, of course, it matched up with the curb placement. So basically you can see it just puts 1 block down, it moves it over, it puts another block down, it puts the final block down, and then everything resets just like so, and then it starts over again. And every time it runs that specific sequence right there, it will move forward by 1 block and then start it over again. So we can take a look at the drive system right here with this sensor. You can see that when the sensor detects something, it flips it and it turns the engine on. And we'll see that little delay here and the amount of movement that we get every time. So you can see it just turns the engine on and then turns it off again, and so it's not necessarily measured by distance completely, but by a delay. And that's because sensors it seems like they run off of a single line raycast and not the entire block size that we see here. So here's a really cool view of the sequence from the perspective of the vacuum pumps. You can see their movements up close here with the pistons as well. It's relatively simple. It's pretty minimal in terms of all the pistons and how many movements are required as well. And the cool thing, okay, hold on, I gotta be careful. I can't stand in the way of these vacuum pumps here. So as I was saying, the cool part in the middle here is the way these get placed. I had to crisscross these ones up and over. Now, the thing that really works out is the fact that these side pumps here, they get placed down in this spot here, but they rely on this final block from the brick placement to be put up against the side. So it's kind of difficult to see because it happens really fast, but those blocks get put down and then they all kind of get placed as well. And of course, the reason why all of this is down horizontal like this and not vertically, because I know a lot of people were wondering why I didn't design it with the vacuum pumps shooting straight down, and that is, of course, because I wanted to make this cross gaps and build bridges as well. So right here, this is the brain of the system when it comes to the sequencing as well as the vacuum pumps. Now this sensor up here that you see slowly moving around, that is what is shooting out those blocks out of the vacuum pump. Now what happens is it runs through the sequence at the exact same rate as the controllers controlling all of the other movements because they are all synchronized at the same speed, and what you get is an extremely consistent display of movements and block placements. And it's really cool because this is doing so many things really quickly, but you can see that the first one here is the first block, second block, third block, and then fourth block. And then I also have another sensor hidden right here that detects the end of the sequence, so it knows that the sequence has reached its fourth block. So since the start of this explanation, since we started the sequence here, you can see we've built quite a bit of road. This is a pretty decent amount. Now, all of the controllers are set to their fastest speed, but either way, I mean, it's just really cool to be able to kind of just go AFK and just let this thing build away. It's just gonna keep on building a road as long as there's blocks in these chests. All right, so I've got the machine set up here in front of the gap. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start the machine up just like so. We're gonna get the sequence running, and while it's doing that and slowly inching its way towards the gap, I'm gonna quickly explain how this works as a bridge builder. So the first thing you're gonna notice here is there is a sensor pointing down at the ground. Now that is gonna be, of course, detecting the ground, and what happens is once it crosses over a ledge here, now this is the tough part because you have to pretty much have a very controlled situation. It's very difficult to detect what kind of slope or what kind of ending that you're going to be crossing over here. So we have that first sensor, and once it detects that there is no ground left in front of it, this entire mechanism right here, and there's one on the other side as well, is going to pivot downward and point at the edge of this ledge right here, and it's going to start building a row of blocks in front of the wheel. So it's going to start building its own little road while it's building the main road. Alright, here we go. It looks like the sensor is almost not detecting anything. There should be one more movement here. Okay, no, maybe one more. So this is the part that I was saying. It's kind of tricky to not really know exactly what kind of slope you're dealing with and how it's going to take the blocks simply because of this tile editor stuff. Now, there we go. You can see the arms have pivoted. It sees that it is now about to start crossing a gap, and there it goes. It has placed its first block down in front of that wheel. And now if we cross over here on this side, you can see that it has also put a block down. There it goes. And so now it's just going to keep on building. Let's just see here. Yeah, look at that. It's just running perfectly. And again, this is all completely automated. I am not doing anything. It's all detecting these things on its own and adapting. This is clearly not a very fast process, but what I think I might do is I think I'm going to set up a seat somewhere here, and I am going to do a time lapse of this so we can kind of just really see the full effect of this build. I think it's going to look really, really cool. So I'm going to set the camera up right here. We're going to let this thing run. I'm going to let it go across the entire gap here. And I think it's going to look really cool. So I will see you guys in a moment. Alright, there we go. We have successfully built ourselves a road with a bridge that crosses this gap right here, and it looks like it didn't miss a single block. So that is going to be the video for today. Now, I hope you guys did enjoy this build, and if you did, then again, make sure to leave a like on the video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments as well, and if you want to tune in for some more Endless Scrap Mechanic, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, maybe even turn on some notifications so you get the latest and the craziest coming from me in Scrap Mechanic. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I will be seeing you in the next one. So, bye for now.